Welcome to the Pulse with Peter B. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano, and we are live from Hudson Media Group's North Bergen studio. Thank you for joining us here every week for your one-stop shop for sports picks, politics and government chatter, and even some neighborhood restaurant reviews. Instead of going to 3 different channels, you can come here every week for the Pulse on everything you need to know. And today, we are actually missing, unfortunately, a member of the Pulse team, as Myrana is taking a much-needed vacation. But the good news is she is going to try new places. She'll be back here on December 1st with some awesome new reviews. But with that said, we're going to have an extra sports segment on today's show. And joining us live in studio is Mr. Eric Cruz and Mr. Devin Inholson, our sports insiders every week here on the Pulse with Peter B. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Good.
We're doing very well.
You're ready? You're ready for this?
Outside,
It is getting cold, and it's getting it's time for nitty-gritty football, correct?
That's true.
Nitty-gritty football,
I like that.
exactly. So they're going to break down 6, that's right, 6 of the top matchups on this week's NFL schedule, and we're already in week 11. So why don't we jump right in, right? We got our first game. It's a pair of 4 and 5 teams. It's the Dallas Cowboys coming off that huge victory against Philly last week when nobody took them besides you, Eric. Yeah, I got to give you credit for that. Going up against the Atlanta Falcons, who had that dismal loss against the Cleveland Browns. I mean, I think whoever loses this game is most likely they kiss their season goodbye. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I think whoever loses this game is kind of like one of those on the brink games where if you win, I mean, if the Cowboys win, they're going to catapult themselves right back into their division race. But for this game, I like what the Cowboys did against the Eagles last week. They went back to give him Zeke the football in the back from the backfield, catching the ball. How about Amari Cooper stepping up, man? That first round pick looks really. It looks like they paid off because he's making some plays for them. Like a lot of third down conversions. They're going to Amari Cooper. They just look like they're getting comfortable with him. In this game, though, it's really going to come down to what the Falcons are, how they're going to rebound against coming off that terrible loss against the Browns. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys on the road. I think that they go back to feeding Zeke, making those third down, short down conversions, at least, where they can minimize the yardage. I think Dallas is going to go in there and take this game.
Okay. Devin?
All right. I mean, for me, Dallas coming in, it's going to be a tough road game. Last week, you could tell that they needed to run the ball against the Eagles, who were giving up 4.5 yards a carry. The Atlanta Falcons are even worse at 5.2 yards a carry given up, so obviously you would think that's going to be another Zeke type of game, which is what they're going to have to do. But I think the Falcons are going to really stack that box, really make it a point. I have the stats. You have the stats. They have the stats. I'm sure they're going to probably force Dak to throw. They're still one of the worst third down teams in the league. So for me, I like the offense of Atlanta, and I like the defense of the Cowboys as well because they are a top 5 defense as far as yards and points given up. But I like Atlanta at home. They need to win this game. A lot of people had them written off last week, against the Browns at home, but we got to give them some respect there. Yeah. I like the Falcons. Tough environment, for the Cowboys. I like them to.
And remember, when these two teams played each other last year, it wasn't a pretty game. I think it was probably Dak Prescott's worst game of his career or something like that.
What was that game? Do you remember what that game was?
I don't remember. It was in the middle of the season or the beginning of the season, but certainly it was not a good showing by the Cowboys.
And just to piggyback real quick, you're right, because they're going to make Dak throw the ball and make those big plays. Because last week, he still missed a lot of throws that he could have and should have converted. So
the Eagles' offense wasn't very good last week. They don't run the ball well.
Right. Well, why don't we get into our second game? We have a pair of 6 and 3 teams, which are kind of shocking the league, and everybody thinks these teams are going to falter. Yeah. I mean, you have Houston, who have won 6 in a row, visiting the Washington Redskins, who, again, everybody's telling me that Washington's not for real, the division is for the Eagles and the Cowboys to take. But it's week 11 here, and these guys are in first place. Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, by this time, your record is, it's who you are as a team now. So the Redskins against Houston, it's a tough game for me to pick because Houston they're on that 6-game ride. They're going on the road, coming off the bye week. And you have Washington, they've been getting some gritty games where they're really giving the ball to Adrian Peterson. Last week, Adrian Peterson, not the greatest game, but another good quality game from him. I think they're going to go back to that against Houston, who doesn't really stop the run real well. And this is a tough game. I'm going to go with Washington just because of their defense. I think their defense could at home can stop the Texans' offense, even though they're high flying right now, and Demaryius Thomas is, now he's coming off a bye week. So, but I'm going to go with the Redskins at home in a really close game. I think a field goal is going to dictate this game.
Definitely. Well, I mean, I have to agree with him because for me, and this is for Texans fans. Texans fans, I've been picking against the Texans most of the year, and if that's the case, let's keep that going because it's been working in your favor. For me, like you said, the Redskins defense is legit. Ha-ha Clinton Dix now. The first game they didn't do too well at home against the Falcons. Last week they played a great, although they did give up 500 yards and 29 first downs against Tampa, and they only give up 3 points. I don't even know how you can do that, but I like the Redskins at home. I had them winning the division. You can check my Twitter, and really, so for me, I like them because I don't. There's something about the Texans where their offense, they're not particularly great at anything, and they are prone to some turnovers.
All right.
So I think it's a tough environment.
And a game like this, Alex Smith is one of those quarterbacks that'll convert on third down. Kind of those, break your back type of moments. Those
Certainly an
plays.
interesting matchup. Well, let's move on to our third game because we're running a little short on time here, and we're sticking in the AFC South. We were just talking about the Texans, and this is an interesting game because I feel like the AFC South are the teams of all teams have winning streaks. Basically, we spoke about the Texans winning 6 in a row.
Yeah.
I think the Colts have won 3 or 4 in a row right now, and the Titans won 2 monster games in a row. So we got Colts Titans. Eric, what do you think?
There's another tough game. I feel like the Titans are just defensively. They have an identity. They're physical, they're fast, and they're gonna punch you right in the face. They really are. They're just that type of team led by Coach Vrabel, who brings that Patriot way. Right. I like what Tennessee's doing. I think Mariota's finally getting the juices running. Yeah. He's getting the flow of the offense. D.D. Lewis, what a pickup he's been all year. I like the Titans. I like the Titans beating the Colts. I think that Andrew Luck is gonna have Tom Brady had a tough time with this defense, and I don't think Andrew Luck is better than Tom Brady. So I think that Titans take care of the offense of the Colts, and they win this game.
I'm leaning towards the Titans as well, but I like where the Colts are going. They really figured something out. They didn't run the ball too well last week, and they still beat the Jaguars, we know where they're headed right now. But for me, Andrew Luck, second in the league in touchdown passes. He's got 26 touchdown passes. They have an identity. They're starting to get their identity. Yeah. Marlon Mack's coming back. He's a dual threat. And defensively, they're not the best defense. They can get thrown on, and Mariota is trending in the right direction. But I just feel like as good as the Titans' defense has been, because they are number 1 in points allowed, now they are, which is impressive, and they have an attitude, which is a big thing in the NFL against high-powered offenses. But I like the Colts at home. I just think that Andrew Luck is going to continue his ways, even though it's going to be a hard-fought type of game.
What a division, huh? I mean, I feel like it's just another division that's totally wide open.
I just remember you asking the question, who's the best team in the AFC? Remember when the Jaguars were the hot team? And I said if the Texans offense
could get in that division.
Yeah, and if the Texans offense could get rolling, they could get on a little roll. It's just that is a really interesting division.
Right.
Exactly. Well, look, Eric and Devin are going to be right back with some more picks, so don't go anywhere, everybody. We'll be right back.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Introducing the My JCMC app, powered by Practice Unite. The free My JCMC app puts the power of healthcare at your fingertips. Go to the concierge for access to referrals, scheduling, and appointments, see emergency room wait times, and get directions to Jersey City Medical Center health locations. Read the latest JCMC news through their social media feed, find a doctor, and more. The My JCMC app. We belong to you.
Welcome back to the Pulse of Peter B. I'm Peter Biancamano, and this is our bonus sports segment today. And we're joined, and look who we still have with us. Mr. Eric Cruz and Devin Inholson, our sports insiders. Now, Eric, I have to just say something here before we go into our fourth game of the day here. The shirt, the man, the myth, the legend here. I mean, I know you went 8-1 in their last 9 games. Devin, what do you have to say about that? Come on.
I'm not very, he's starting to get ahead of himself a little bit now.
This
3 weeks in.
This is 8-1, though. This is 8-1.
I mean, I still come dressed
when
like
you're
this
8-1,
regardless.
when you're 8-1, you get a casual day. Right?
Oh, there you go. There you go. Well, let's get
If
into
he goes
it.
0-6, what's he wearing next week?
He might not wear any shirt, which, then we might have some FCC regulations. Anyway, so why don't we move on to our fourth game? And now, at the beginning of the season, I think people probably would have circled this game as a monster matchup. I mean, you have the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. We spoke about them losing to the Cowboys last week. Going down to New Orleans to play the 8-1 New Orleans Saints, who are just firing on all cylinders right now. Eric, do you think that this is a must-win for the Eagles?
Yeah, this is just as much winning for the Eagles as it is for the Cowboys and the Falcons.
Yeah, exactly.
This is going to really make or break their season, but unfortunately, I think they're going to lose. They're definitely going into a monster atmosphere in New Orleans. Drew Brees he's the MVP. To me, he's just the MVP. Alvin Kamara is just proving again that he is one of the top backs, if not the top back in the NFL. For me, the Eagles, they had a tough time stopping Zeke. I think the Saints, with Mark Ingram, go right back to that formula. Take the ball out of Drew Brees' hands. It's one of those games where Drew Brees doesn't have to win the game for you. And again, at home, the Saints 8-1. They're beating the best teams, and they're going to beat the Eagles on Sunday.
Again, I've learned not to pick against the Saints. I'm not picking against the Saints. I've done it a few weeks, and I keep losing. But it's the reason I can't pick against the Saints in this game either, because the Eagles, they were the Super Bowl champs. I was talking about last week how, oh my God, they're the most underreported, under talked about team and all that. But I just like where the Saints are. They've only punted 19 times this year, which basically, and the team who punted the most 64 times. So there's a huge discrepancy. That was Cleveland.
It's unbelievable.
And it goes to show you that they're very efficient. When they get the ball, they score regardless. And the Eagles aren't scaring anybody right now. No. Unfortunately, their offense hasn't gotten going. And they're not, just like they didn't stop Zeke last week. They have 2 running backs they got to worry about this week. I like the Saints at home. It could be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game, but I like the Saints to prevail in this game. All right.
Now, we have a great NFC North matchup. You got the Minnesota Vikings going out to Soldier Field, taking on those 6-3, surprising 6-3 Chicago Bears. I mean, Minnesota's a half a game behind Chicago because of course, the tie that they had earlier this season. How great is this Khalil Mack trade looking now for those Chicago Bears? Worth the first-round pick? What do you think, Eric?
Oh, absolutely. Worth the first-round pick, worth all the money that he got. That guy he just came to this team and just made a difference. And this was a team that was top 10 last year without Khalil Mack. So this is an impressive team. I like where Mitch Trubisky's going. I think that he's finally getting the offense down. He's really in control. They trust him to make the plays.
He's evolving.
Audible at the line of scrimmage. You just see him progressing. He's just getting better. And with that defense, they're gonna get after Kirk Cousins. They got a great offense with Thielen and Stephon Diggs, but to me, this time of the year, defense is going to win, and I think the Bears are going to take this one.
I mean, you're talking defense, but the Vikings, I keep saying, the Vikings have a good defense too.
They do. Can't take that away from them.
The best third down defense in the league. You know you're going to win a lot of games on third down. And Trubisky, how about that number 2 overall pick? That was strange, by the way. Yeah. But for me, I like the Vikings on the road to win a game where I was very high on them. I've said it before. I think this is a game, the statement game for both teams, believe it or not. It has to be. So for me, I like the Vikings to run an offense that's going to, get some, not going to really attack the ball down the field. They're not going to attack the Bears down the field as much as you think. But I just think they're going to have enough. And their receivers, I don't think they're elite. The Bears secondary. Yeah. I don't think the Bears secondary is elite. If you can hit them, you can hit them there.
Yeah.
Right. No,
although they do have 16 picks.
And just
let me stop with that. But they,
And just to go back to this game is huge because Green Bay lost a tough one on Thursday against Seattle. This could take you right. This could take the division right here.
He's not big on Kirk Cousins.
I'm not.
He's not big on Kirk
just
Cousins.
because over the time that I've watched him, even in Washington,
when he's wearing a Redskins uniform,
he makes a lot of.
But you were big on Alex Smith.
Because Alex Smith doesn't turn the ball over.
Gotcha.
Kirk Cousins turns the ball
It's
over.
a good point. Very good point. Now let's get to our third game, or sixth game, I should say. Third
my
game
God,
of the segment,
sorry.
right? Now we spoke about the Rams and Saints early this year. I said probably that was the matchup of the year, but this has to be right up there. I mean, you have the 9-1 Chiefs, 9-1 Rams. Of course, this was going to be played on a neutral site down in Mexico City, but that field was just god awful, a disaster. Advantage to Rams now that it's in LA?
I would have to say yes. I like the Rams in this game. I think that this is the game where they're going to prove that they're the best team in the NFL. I mean, the Chiefs lost to the Patriots earlier in the year, and they've gotten going. Patrick Mahomes, we all know he's amazing this year, and with the weapons that he's got, it's actually, I don't know, neutral site, LA. To me, those two offenses, they're going to go off. It's going to be a crazy game.
Yep.
But I think that the Rams defensively are better than the Chiefs, and they're going to be able to make the stop with Aaron Donald, with Ndamukong Suh, with those guys getting after Patrick Mahomes, making them uncomfortable. I also like the Rams secondary. I think that, they give up big plays, but they don't give up against the Chiefs. I think they're going to get Tyreek Hill down. Yeah, they're going to buckle him down a little bit, and they're going to make other guys have to win the game for them. I'm going to go with the Rams at home.
I like the Chiefs. And that field was just as bad as Hoboken Streets the other day, wasn't it? No,
Next segment.
I'm sorry. We'll talk about it. No, but for me, I like the Chiefs because something about the Rams. When they lost to the Saints in New Orleans, it's like they lost they're trying to find themselves a little bit. They look a little nervous now when they're playing. Last week, you could tell, man. McVay, when they won that game, he was so happy to win that because he knew it was a sign of relief. Now they got the Chiefs coming in who play with, like they're possessed in a way. They get the ball and they score. They're not as efficient as the Saints, but they're just as effective as the Saints. And they're just going to come in, play, free as ever, and then I think they're going to be able.
Is this a Super Bowl preview?
It can be.
Every year we almost see like a Super Bowl preview. It seems like.
Week 11,
it can be.
9-1 teams.
The NFL set this up nice. Let me tell you that. 9-1 against 9-1.
You wonder what they knew at the beginning of the season.
I don't know.
Correct?
This is bugged out. How do you even pick that? Unless it was just coincidence, I guess.
Well, it's schedule and things like that.
I don't know, but I like the Chiefs because I just think they're going to outscore the Rams, man. I
All
really
right.
do.
How
Which
do you
is
guys
usually
feel,
what
by the
happens
way?
when you win.
This is
feel
like
great.
6 games.
I could do another 6 right now.
You can do another
there's
6.
so
Well,
much more.
the man, the myth, the legend says you can
He's
do
very
another 6.
disrespectful today. What's going on with this guy?
It's the shirt. It's got to be the shirt.
It's got to
right?
be the boots.
And maybe the boots
Maybe.
too. Well, we've had some torrential weather here.
It's bad out there.
Yes. So you guys, you guys feel comfortable? You guys feel like you can do another
I don't feel
6?
comfortable.
I feel comfortable.
I haven't felt comfortable in a
because
couple
his winning
weeks.
streak
And can I just
is
say
not-
something?
Yeah.
Can I just say something
Yes.
about
Here
Sean
we go.
McVay being like excited? That is pure passion and love for the game, and that is also.
I love it.
That is also no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm just saying, but that is also because it's so easy to lose in the NFL.
That's right.
But it's so hard to win.
Well, look.
and then you get a bad game.
We're going to have to cut you off
Sorry,
there,
but
Eric.
that was-
Please stay tuned, everybody. Josh Sotomayor Einstein has been waiting in
It
the
takes
wings
more than a
for his
state-of-the-art
Politics of
medical
Peter B
facility
segment.
to make a
So
great
please
hospital.
Come right back, and he'll be joining us live in studio.
It takes more than a state-of-the-art medical facility to make a great hospital. It takes a team of dedicated medical professionals. That's the Jersey City Medical Center, Hudson County's #1 hospital. Medical teams consisting of New Jersey's top doctors, Magnet Award-winning nurses, and accomplished hospital associates, all committed to your good health. That's what you have at the Jersey City Medical Center. Make Hudson County's #1 hospital your first choice. Visit us on the web at barnabashealth.org.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in 10 high-rise rental towers with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path subway, light rail and ferry service, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams Supermarket is just outside your front door. A health and fitness club, spa, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. NewportNJ.com. Enjoy the New York skyline from Newport Town Square. Manhattan is just 1 path stop away or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Want to visit Newport? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. Go to NewportNJ.com for details. Newport has luxurious towers, great restaurants, shopping, New York skyline views, schools, playgrounds, a marina and yacht club, gym, spa, fine wine, fine living. It's incredible. It's you. NewportNJ.com. Newport. Live like you want.
Pan & Pinto Properties, Jersey City. Shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces that address your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment. adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintoproperties.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Welcome back to the Pulse with Peter B. And this is our Politics with Peter B segment. Joined live in studio like we are every week live in studio for this segment by Mr. Josh Sotomayor Einstein. Josh, how's it going today, bud?
It's good to be here, suffering from a little bit of allergies, but we shall persevere.
Exactly. We'll get through it. I'll be there for you. Don't worry. I will be there for you. Now, Josh, earlier this week on our Facebook page, we did write that we were going to talk about municipal boards in town and, people volunteering for them and if they're a political patronage or if they're more, people who are qualified for these boards. But we just had to change the topic because of what happened 2 days ago, not even a day and a half ago. That was Thursday evening snowstorm and how cities here in Hudson County, the states, the county in general, completely and utterly botched the cleanup job where it was taking people hours, absolute hours to get home. Can we pinpoint the finger and the blame on anybody?
So I think there's a lot of blame to go around. Obviously, the lion's share goes to Trenton, and particularly to the constitutionally the most powerful governor's office in the country, right now occupied by Governor Murphy, who I will say right now is going to be a one-term governor.
Well, that's his personal opinion, not the none of the pulses.
If you look at the history, he's a goner, and it adds to, his
somebody's mad about the snow job.
His statement to his statement the other day where he did not take responsibility.
He did apologize.
Yeah, he did apologize, but
Okay.
when you say I apologize and it's their fault, that's not really an apology. If it's an apology with a but in it, then everything before the but was nonsense. And so Governor Murphy can blow some hot air up everyone's rear end, but the reality is that the buck stops with him, and that he bears the lion's share of the responsibility.
But how much of the buck stops with him? I mean, look, you have state roads, obviously, but then you also have county roads. I mean, we live in Hudson County here. How much responsibility should the county executive, Tom DeGees, and the board of chosen freeholders, should they take responsibility for the county roads? The county roads weren't getting any better. And then, at an even lower level, the city roads. I mean, to be honest with you, I actually thought, Washington Street in Hoboken wasn't that bad. Obviously, the sidewalks weren't that great, but, obviously that's for personal property owners and not so much for the municipality. So how much of the lion's share of blames are for these other entities and even the Port Authority?
Well, I'd just like to say that I'm a renter, but I have an agreement with my landlord and I shovel, and I live on Washington Street. And so many people were walking by saying, thank you for shoveling.
There you go.
So it's really helpful when people shovel and put out salt. And I think in town in Hoboken, the response wasn't the best, but it wasn't that bad. You had a really good response time when branches came down.
Correct.
And Correct. when we're talking about like some branches were the size of trees themselves that came down, and the city was really good about responding to that. They should have started salting a little bit earlier, and that's really where the lion's share of the blame goes in terms of pragmatically, methodologically what happened is whether it's the municipalities or the county or the state. People, the different Department of Public Works agencies didn't start salting till after there was already like 4 inches of snow. And
freezing rain, mind you,
Yeah.
which of course turns into
So
ice.
the general excuse is that, well, we were only told it was going to be 4 inches. But that doesn't make any sense. So you thought it was only going to be 4 inches, so you started salting after
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 it
it
was
was
4
4 inches.
It's a good point.
It doesn't make any
It's a
sense
good point.
whatsoever.
Now,
And
let's talk about the gorilla in the room, though. I have to interrupt you because let's talk about the gorilla in the room because I know you're waiting to talk
800-pound
about
gorilla.
this. 800-pound gorilla. We'll call it a
Ginormous gorilla.
1,000-pound
The gorilla's
gorilla.
huge.
Huge. There you go. Definitely. And that is the League of Municipalities convention was held this week down in Atlantic City. Now, this is usually a convention for the audience that doesn't know where many mayors, many public officials, many directors go down to Atlantic City. It's a convention where they talk to different vendors about possibly doing business in their towns. But let's be frank, what these people actually do down there. They go to parties, they have a good time. I mean, do you think that quite possibly, this many elected officials and this many directors who were appointed by these elected officials at the League of Municipalities probably should have been paying attention to their local Doppler radars?
Listen, I don't have a problem with anybody who wants to get a little bit tipsy every once in a while. But the fact is that you know, the entire state, the entire municipal leadership of the state were caught with their pants down.
Which usually happens in Atlantic City without snow.
That's true. They were at the bar instead of, you know, behind the wheel. And for that, they should be raked over the coals. I mean, everyone knew there was going to be a minimum of 4 inches of snow. And it seems like everyone was, you know, telling their Department of Public Works to wait till after it snowed. There weren't trucks in the main. There's always exceptions, right? But there weren't trucks salting before the snow started. And that's how we got this mess. And, you know, you got to give credit where credit is due. There's a lot of wonderful educators from private schools and charter schools and district public schools across New Jersey, particularly in the West Orange region, that, you know, said, I'm going to stay with my students till every last one of them can get home. And they brought food, you know, and they got food and they fed and they made their kids food. And these kids had overnights at school. So you got to give credit to the dedicated teachers of New Jersey that really pulled more than their weight when the municipal leadership and the state leadership and Governor Murphy, you know, just decided that they didn't really care.
And that's a good point, because a lot of times in these type of disasters, you really see who steps up their game, and teachers obviously did, and who obviously was down in Atlantic City having a great time. Now,
well, hold on. The ridiculous part is that the terminology you just used is actually spot on. It was a disaster. It didn't have to be a disaster. We've had greater snowstorms before,
of course.
But because of the negligence of a lot of our municipal county leadership and the state leadership, it was a disaster.
And just to be fair,
it was a man-caused
but just
disaster.
to be fair to those municipalities and those county offices and things like that, not everybody does go down to this convention. Obviously, people do have to stay back and do have to take care of the towns. But obviously, the people making the shots, or calling the shots, I should say, were not there. Correct?
Well, I mean, listen, that's part of the paralysis of the disgusting politics of New Jersey, where people that are left behind in their municipalities that didn't rank high enough on the political totem pole to go get sloshed and kiss each other's tuchuses aren't allowed
Thank
to
you for being a G here.
No problem. Aren't allowed to make the call and say, hey, there's supposed to be 4 inches of snow. It looks like there might actually be more snow because the weather report changed. We should get the trucks out now. But they're not. They can't do that. They're paralyzed because they might, you know, alienate their political boss. And that's indicative of the unhealthy politics that we have in the state of New Jersey, and it goes all the way to the top to Governor Murphy.
It certainly does. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, there was a lot of smooching down there, and there's a lot of people who don't want to alienate higher officials, because everybody's always looking to move up, and it's an unfortunate thing. Well, Josh, this has been great. This is Josh Sotomayor Einstein. He's our political analyst every week here on The Pulse with Peter B. He was very frank today, but he needed to be frank, folks. For all you folks that took 5.5 hours to go 9 miles, I'm sure you're going to love this segment. Reach out to your local officials. Make them know that it is not okay. Thank you for joining us, folks. We'll see you next week here live on The Pulse with Peter B. for The Pulse on everything you need to know. Have a great night.